The long wait is over. Officially, the first 49ers regular season practice day of 2025. And have a listen to this sound of the pads popping. Defensive line was getting after it. Jauan Jennings was again back out at practice running some routes. And the 49ers named their 8 captains. This, of course, is Seahawks week. Diomede Lenoir has been talking trash about Seattle all offseason. In the locker room, Demo addressed that.
This whole offseason has been about Seattle. So, I got to back it up. I'm ready.
And we also heard from Nick Bosa and Fred Warner in the 49ers locker room. More from them in a bit. News today for the 49ers, they announced their 8 captains. And those 8 captains are the players who I predicted yesterday, including Diomede Lenoir. So Lenoir effectively replaces Deebo Samuel as a 49ers captain. The others, Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, and Brock Purdy. Those guys were captains last season. Again, the 49ers, you can call it foundational pillars. You can call them tent poles. 49ers like having a guy in each position room to be the leader with the C on his chest for some of the younger players on this football team. I'm going to have a big article on the 49ers defense, a feature on Robert Saleh's return coming out on the San Francisco Standard tomorrow. It talks about the fact that the 49ers have so many young players on the defensive side of the ball. They used their first 5 draft picks on the defense. First time they had done that since 1981. They actually won their first Super Bowl in 1981. It was a haul that included Ronnie Lott. So because of the massive rookie investment that the 49ers have made on the defensive side of the ball, very important for them to have captains at every level of the defense, including now Diomede Lenoir in the secondary. The only position group on this entire 49ers roster that does not have a captain represented is the wide receiver room, which is interesting to me because Brandon Ayuk, that's something that maybe he could earn next year once hopefully he's back for an entire season with the 49ers. I said that Ricky Pearsall had a shot to get it this year, but obviously that could have been a weird dynamic, right? Ricky Pearsall definitely in line to be a captain next year if he continues on this current trajectory. Brandon Ayuk was supposed to be that foundational pillar this season, but of course with the way that things went over the past 365 days, most notably because of the injury, that did not work out for the 49ers. But the tent poles are in place. The 49ers back out on the practice field. We can take a look at the defensive line going through some of these sled drills for San Francisco. Nick Bosa obviously part of that mix. You know who wasn't part of that mix today was Yetur Gross-Matos. We know that the knee issue had him on PUP for the beginning of training camp. He was activated at the 53-man roster deadline. He was back out at practice on Monday for the 49ers, but not out there today. Kyle Shanahan said that it was not a setback, though, for Yetur Gross-Matos, so could just be a managed rest day. I did see him walking around the locker room. So we'll have to wait to see if he practices on Thursday. If Yetur is not active for the game on Sunday against Seattle, that obviously does open up another slot on the game day 46-man roster for the 49ers. And yesterday I posited the question, or maybe that was this morning. I recorded it yesterday. There's a video that came out this morning. I asked, will Alfred Collins be active for the 49ers? Somebody who's worked to get into good shape. He's dropped a ton of weight ever since he joined San Francisco in the spring. He's healthy now, post-calf injury. He's improved a lot over the course of preseason, but I think there's still a question about where Alfred Collins immediately fits into the 49ers rotation. And if they've got 8, 9 defensive linemen active, there's a question, is he going to be one of those 8 or 9 active? If Yetur Gross-Matos isn't active, though, a lot higher chance, I think, even though Alfred Collins is a tackle and Matos, his home position is defensive end, I think there's a lot higher chance that the rookie Alfred Collins is in for the 49ers. Anyway, that was a look at the 49ers hitting the sleds today. I know that we played the audio at the start. You always know that it's real football when the guys are pounding the sleds. You know that it's real football when there's actually a game this week. The 49ers favored by 3 over 2.5, I think, over the Seattle Seahawks. A lot of talk today in the locker room about Clint Kubiak, Sam Darnold, and that Seahawks offense. They only played 1 series in the preseason, so Fred Warner made it a point to say that it's going to be about reacting once the 49ers are on the field on Sunday. That's why the start of the season is always a little bit weird, right? Especially when a team has a new coordinator and a new quarterback, and they don't play a lot in the preseason. Even if they did play a lot in the preseason, you can't glean all too much from it because they're not going to show their full set of cards. So this is one of those things where the 49ers are going to have to be ready to react and play football accordingly on Sunday. The good news is that they are familiar with Clint Kubiak. He used to work here as a coach. They are familiar with Sam Darnold. He used to play here as a quarterback. They know the Seahawks are going to try to run the football, and that's what the 49ers have to prove that they can stop. Fred Warner spoke in the locker room today. So did one of the 49ers' other foundational pillars, Nick Bosa. This is a video from Cam Inman. He gets this clip from Bosa, and it's really interesting to me because Bosa does say that one of his goals is to lead the NFL in sacks this season. He's got other lofty aspirations as well.
I mean, I'm aiming for everything. I've reached the pinnacle of success as a, not that, I mean, there is no pinnacle, but I've won Defense Play of the Year, and not that that's on my mind all the time. I went doing it again, but I just want to be dominant, and I want to be really thought of as one of the best, is what you would look for in this league, like amongst your peers and coaches and players.
Remember what I talked about from New York City the other day following the Micah Parsons trade from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers. If Nick Bosa does indeed have a massive year, a Defensive Player of the Year type of season, he does lead the league in sacks, well, he'll definitely be in line for a nice renegotiation. That's how this contract is set up, and that renegotiation would happen next offseason. Of course, the 49ers have been budgeting with that in mind. That's why they gave out all those A-list contracts this offseason. They escalate in cap hit over the course of time, but it's why the 49ers have been really careful outside of those A-list players. They had to draw a line in the sand with Jauan Jennings. Kyle Shanahan didn't rule out a deal getting done with Jauan Jennings and a deal getting done with Colton McKivitz ahead of free agency next offseason, but it's hard to satisfy all parties in a situation like this where the 49ers obviously have a strict budget for their non-A-list players. Other update, by the way, is that Kendrick Bourne, he visited Washington after his stop here in Santa Clara. Kendrick Bourne has decided not to sign with either Washington or the 49ers, and the 49ers definitely offered Kendrick Bourne, but likely a deal close to the league minimum. Kendrick has decided that he's going to sit out week one, wait to see what happens around the league, and then decide which team he wants to sign with after then. A lot can change in between weeks 1 and 2, obviously, with injuries around the league. And I think it's really smart. If Kendrick Bourne felt that there was no offer that blew him away, as is likely here in week 1, you have to go by situation. Situation is so important in this league. The 49ers are projected to have a much different receiver room in week 6 than they are in week 1. And there are probably going to be surprises and twists and turns before then, because you can't just turn injuries off like you can in a video game. So the 49ers might have a very different need for a wide receiver in week 2, or the chances are that there's going to be at least one team around the league that's going to need a wide out, and maybe that's where we see Kendrick Bourne go. But the 49ers, they're going to go with the guys they have on the team right now. They successfully executed the swap of Russell Gage and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Remember, yesterday I reported that they had promoted Valdes-Scantling to the active roster from the practice squad. He gets a pay bump. They released Russell Gage. They were hoping to re-sign him to the practice squad. They have indeed successfully re-signed Russell, so they can elevate him from the practice squad to be one of their 5 active receivers on Sunday. So that's a critical win for the 49ers. Why did they do this? Why did the swap happen? Well, because I think it's very obvious that Pittsburgh wanted to poach MVS, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, off the 49ers practice squad. Remember that Aaron Rodgers, MVS's former quarterback, is the QB in Pittsburgh. Valdes-Scantling told us last week that Rodgers wanted him to sign with the Steelers. When Robert Woods got released in Pittsburgh, it naturally opened up a spot for a wide receiver. So if the Steelers were to poach MVS from the 49ers, it would have happened then, but the 49ers made sure that they promoted Marquez Valdes-Scantling to the 53-man roster. Russell Gage was not in demand by another team, and the 49ers were able to keep him on the practice squad potentially with the option to flex him up a little bit later in the season. They can elevate him temporarily from the practice squad 3 times. So that's where the 49ers are at right now. You could hear a little bit from Fred Warner as well here in the 49ers facility. Week 1 against the Seattle Seahawks coming up soon. First practice is in the books. We flipped sides here. We're looking at the face mask now of the helmet. New style helmet update here for the regular season. Excited to bring it all to you. Hit the like button, hit the sub button. We'll talk to you very soon.